welcome back. Got an interesting one for you guys today. Got an 05 Subaru here, and it's got some electrical demons for sure. I'm debating whether I should have taken this job or not, being as though the circumstances. I'll flip you around here in a second so you can see. All right, so I guess it stalled on him going down the road, just going down the highway, and just didn't restart. So hit the key in the on position, the run position, and you can see, or you can hear, I'm sure you can hear that. That's the fuel pump relay clicking. That would be the ECM. He had it removed. I guess he tried to put an ECM in here thinking he would fix it. But yeah, there's no communication to that ECM. Let me take you out. So I hooked up the scan tool. There's no communication to the ECM. And then, I was just kind of poking around and found this harness here. It's just, hold on. So, I'm sure you can see that. I'm sure we'll dive deeper into that, but I mean, it's melted. It would appear this turbo here is the culprit. But yeah, that's for the MAF sensor. We got O2 sensor harnesses disconnected, and he says that's because if he has the O2 sensor plugged in, it runs worse. So, I mean, we got other issues other than no start. Where do you start with a job like this? That burnt up harness is, like, in my mind, where I need to go. He replaced the crank sensor and a whole bunch of relays and fuses, and he was, messing with the fuse block. And another key piece of information here. So what happened was he stalled on the highway, but he wasn't a fender bender. That driver's side fender was hit. I don't see any pinched wires or anything. That's not to say there's not, but it would be really funny if the wiring issue was over there when we got all that melted harness over there. It's just funny because in a regular situation, you'd look for a chafed harness, little you'd comb the whole engine bay for just a little tiny piece, and oh, there's our problem, and find it, it's chafed. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the camera did it justice when I was going through that harness and showing you. It's bad. It's melted. It's chafed. I actually don't see any exposed wiring, but it looks like it got hot. And my guess is something shorted out. I don't think the fender bender had anything to do with it personally. I think it's a coincidence. I think he was cruising down the highway. I think that turbo got hot and it melted. But so, where do you start? Well, I think the logical place to start for me, just being as though it could be a number of different things, I mean, it cranks, but it won't start. I mean, he put an aftermarket crank sensor in there in place of the OE crank sensor, and that'll cause a no start. I think the logical place to start is with the infrared camera. I think at least just to get a baseline of, what is there something drawing power? I mean, that clicking, something shorted out. That's a typical like low voltage situation. If you ever hear like you go to crank your car over and you hear like this rapid clicking, that's the starter relay. It's not it has low voltage, probably a voltage drop in the cable or something of that nature, or bad connection. It's the same thing, it's a solenoid. So, that fuel pump relay, it's clicking. This solenoid on top of the intake is clicking. So I think I'm going to start with infrared. I'm going to pull up a bunch of wiring diagrams. I'm going to see what that fuel pump relay has in common with this solenoid on top of the intake. And I'm also going to You know, that'll just be a baseline, but I'm going to, there's no communication with the ECM, so I'm gonna just open up some wiring diagrams, I'm gonna pour through them, and I'm gonna see what they all have in common. I'm gonna check all the powers and grounds to the ECM. You know, if one of those got fried, it'll stall, it won't run. So yeah, it's just from here, it's just pouring through information, you know, gathering data, and make a checklist, and just start knocking them off, because you know, you don't make a checklist and you're kind of unsure of, oh well, did I test that or did I I mean, you'll go in circles on a car like this. It'll just, you know, oh, you know, you'll be testing the same thing 10 times. So I think it's important, you know, to make kind of a little checklist. You know, check this, check that, check it off the list, and then just move forward. But I mean, the primary objective is to get that ECM communicating, because you know, until it's communicating, until we find this short, or you know, whatever's causing it to not communicate, and whatever's causing these relays to glitch out, we're not gonna fix it. So that's step one. Let's get started. Just got the key in the on position. I'll bring you guys in closer if I actually find something. It's not looking like there's anything heating up down there. Number 5, 30 amp. Absolutely blows my mind that there's nothing in this harness over here that's hot. As a matter of fact, well, it's like the coldest thing in the engine bay, so maybe there's just absolutely no power getting to it at all. I gotta be really careful leaning up against anything, or because this will pick it up, you know, my body print on the, see here. You guys can see I'm gonna touch some, like on the core support there, the radiator. You guys can see that? That right there in like the center of the screen, how it's all warm, like right. I don't know if you can see that crosshair right there, right in the middle. That's from my hand. It's pretty crazy. Okay, so that circuit, I'm gonna check the inside real quick. Over by the ECM. Yeah, so that ECM and that whole harness with the fuel pump relay, it's lit up like a Christmas tree. Okay, so that fuse in question right here, it's that 30 amp fuse. I removed it and everything's, I mean, it won't start, it won't crank now either, but you know, nothing, you know, the relay inside's not clicking, this is not clicking. The problem is I can't seem to find a label for it. I looked in the manual, I looked on my service information, Googled it, and they list all the other fuses except for these two, and a couple more, I think these ones. I mean, it's just kind of unbelievable, because there's a lot of these on the road, but I mean, not even in the manual that's in the car. So I got to find out what circuit this is, and just go from there. I mean, I'd assume I just look on the wiring diagrams for, you know, that 30 amp fuse, and then, you know, find like the fuel pump relay and this solenoid here, and then, okay, so that's where I'm at. My phone's getting pretty low, so I'm gonna put it on the charger, but that's our fuse in question right there, and it's not labeled anywhere. Like if you look here, like on the service information, it gives it says, you know, it labels all the fuses like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, all the way up to 12, and then A and B and C, and then 3. But these, they're not there. There's no, you know, there's no description or anything. So, I mean, that's our issue though. It's something on that circuit. So it does look like that is the I believe it's the purge control solenoid valve. It just doesn't really look like one, but I guess it is. I don't work on a whole bunch of Subarus, but yeah, it's just on top of the intake there. I didn't get the number, but yeah, that's what that's gonna be, that's clicking. So I was able to go through some wiring diagrams and just kind of looking for, you know, anything that these, you know, malfunctioning components have in common. Looks like that fuel pump relay, the ECM, and some other stuff. They share this red, black power supply. Well, I don't know if you guys can see that, but like right up in there, that's that. Sorry, it's a green red wire. I just wanted to show you guys what I found. It's going to be very difficult to film, but I'm going to cut away some of this excess melted rubber, and this whole section of the harness is essentially melted together. But especially that green red wire is it's melted to some other wires, and I'm currently trying to just separate it so I can isolate it and inspect it, and then you know, once I've found something out, I'll report back. Okay, so it's a few minutes later and I made a little bit of progress, but so this is like the main harness going, you know, through the firewall into the ECM. It's the most important harness. It controls everything. But so there's this big section like right in here. I was able to get that red-green wire pulled off of it, but there's like this huge melted section. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attempt to use my heat gun and kind of heat up that rubber a little bit so I can pull it apart, because as of now it's just like, it's essentially a whole bunch of wires fused together. So I need to 100% verify, you know, this is the issue. I mean, I'm 95% sure that this is the issue. This is horrible. And it's not just this harness, it's all these other harnesses. Something's got to be done about this. All this stuff got to be rerouted and rewired. I mean, you can see it's just, I cut back some bad sections like this. But I mean, come on. Like, you can't even, it's literally melted to the wires, and I don't even want to know what kind of carnage that's caused. No wonder why it runs worse when he plugs things in. Okay, so I'm going to try to do that and then see what I can see, and I'll report back again. All right, so I pulled it up a little bit more, and I've been kind of trying to separate it, but yeah, I mean, you can see this is our issue. You got right there, you got exposed wire. Well, I pulled that off. It was melted to the ground. So whatever this yellow or blue yellow wire was, it was melted to the ground. That red green wire in question right here, that was melted to another wire. It still is. It melted to multiple wires. But, you know, that's why when I said I suspected like a power supply issue is because of that clicking. But, you know, if something's not receiving, you know, the power or ground it needs, you know, if there's a massive voltage drop, if you know, that fuel pump relay needs 12 volts and it's getting 5 volts or 3 volts, it's not going to work. If the ECM requires, you know, 12 volts or whatever to work, and it's only getting, you know, a few volts, it's not going to power up. So it's not going to give us codes. It's basically a paperweight. You know, things have got to have their powers and grounds, or they're not going to operate correctly. So I'm trying to do this as delicately as possible. I called around, and I can get a harness, which is what I'll most likely do, but it all depends on his budget. But then again, you know, if I were to rewire this whole section, it kind of was tucked down there because of this aftermarket stuff. I mean, technically I probably have enough wire to rewire the the main, you know, concern wires or all of them, but at that point, I mean, the labor, you know, cost wise versus just getting an engine harness is, it may not be worth it. So it really just depends. You know, once I get these all separated and assess the damage, I mean, technically, you know, all these wires that were melted, they're damaged. They're they all need to be replaced. But, you know, I'm just curious now that that wire is not shorted to ground, if it would start. I'm also a little scared to plug it back in. You know, yeah, this yellow blue wire, I gotta figure out what that is. I'm gonna get an ECM pin out. But that's shorted to like all kinds of stuff, including that ground wire, and it's probably another power supply to the ECM or something. It's anyways, so that's where we're at with that. This thing's gonna need a harness, and I don't know if I'm gonna make a follow-up, but we're not done here. We'll see if I can get it started and everything working at, you know, temporarily. Then, you know, we found our issue. We don't need to waste any more of our time filming or anything, you know. So let me clean this up a little bit more and we'll see what we can see. So as you can see, I got them disconnected from each other, sort of. All right, so like I said, let's see here, maybe see better. I pulled all those melted wires away from each other, and I have some of the worst just kind of temporarily taped so they don't short anything out. I have the connector hooked back up to the harness that comes out the firewall, and then it's the main engine bulkhead harness, so it controls everything pretty much. Anyways, got it connected. I'm going to just put this ground cable back on, and then let's see if it runs. Okay, see if it clicks. All right, I haven't touched anything related to the actual ECM or that relay, just that harness. So okay, it's on. No clicking. Let's see here. Well, let's start. And she's alive. I mean, we're lit up like a Christmas tree, but it runs. So honestly, we got pretty lucky there. I mean, I seen that melted harness, and I mean, I was thinking, you know, if he didn't need an ECU, he does now. But yeah, so I mean, all's well. She starts up, she runs. We got really lucky. You know, just fundamentals. You gotta, you know, how I said in the beginning, you know, if it sounds like a voltage situation, you know, if it was out of time, it'd be throwing codes for, you know, crank sensor, cam sensor, or timing, or cam crank correlation, something of that nature. I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier, but yeah, he wanted me to check the timing. He was pretty convinced. I mean, he was just about to take the timing belt off, but he said it was too complicated. So I'm glad that I was able to help him out. I've known him for a few years, and I've been working on his mom's rigs and his for quite some time. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, if another thing, you know, if the PCM needs to talk, or ECM, if we're not getting a code, you know, we're not able to communicate with that ECM, nothing's going to happen. That's the heart and soul of operating everything. And so you just got to think about the big picture. And the way I like to go about complicated stuff like this is, what do they have in common? That's what I always ask myself. If I start going in circles, I stop. I've learned that recently, that, you know, if you start going in circles, spinning your wheels, just stop, reconvene, and think about it. You know, what do all these things have in common? The fuel pump relay, the ECM, the throttle control. I think I didn't mention that
earlier too. He said that he lost throttle control when it stalled on him. So that, and then, you know, the evap purge solenoid. You know, what do they all have in common? You know, make yourself a list. And then, you know, from there, it's like, okay, they all share this red black wire. And then, you know, I start digging, and well, what do you know, that red black wire is melted to another wire. And then, oh, what do you know, this that white, it was a blue white wire. I think I said blue yellow earlier. It was a blue white wire. I still don't know what that was to. I haven't looked. I haven't had time. But you know, they're shorted. That wire was shorted to a ground wire. So, I mean, all that compounded, that's no good. It's a miracle he doesn't need an ECM anyways. And then as far as you know, there's those other lights on the dash. So this is a Subaru. When there's a code in the ECM, it puts it in limp mode essentially, and you know, you'll have or sometimes not, but you will have a check engine light on. Your cruise control light will be illuminated on the dash, ABS, some other stuff, and I mean, just anything. That's just how the systems are. But so I don't know. I'm happy. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, you know, like, subscribe, hit that bell. It helps the channel, helps me grow. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching.